speaking of journalists under attack.
Yes, we over Breaking Points. Wow, Free Press has really upset about journalists against journalism. That's what they're calling us. I was going to put this up here on the screen. We can go ahead and read from their editorial. They ran an entire piece here defending their piece, quote unquote, debunking how pictures of 12 Gazan children who were held up as famine victims actually had pre-existing conditions. So they quoted us from our show. Thank you for tuning in, by the way, all of you over at the Free Press.
Appreciate
They
that.
say to Krystal Ball, host of Breaking Points, our journalism was, quote, just so disgusting.
True.
Ball's co-host Saagar and Jetty chimed in to compare our reporters to Holocaust deniers, saying that a key tenet of Holocaust denial is trying to claim that many of initial victims or purported victims had other preconditions, and that's part of the reason why they died.
Also true.
Yeah, I mean, that is an empirical fact. I was stating a fact. And you people are the ones who are supposedly so concerned about Holocaust denial, so maybe you should learn something about it. And they say, quote, those who care about the truth will note that these children were not presented as the initial victims of anything. They were deceptively promoted to reflect the average Gazan. To suggest otherwise betrays a fleeting relationship with reality. Ball and Enjeti are not alone. Glenn Greenwald, a so-called self-proclaimed free speech absolutist, argued not just for our censorship, but for our trial at The Hague.
You're here, Glenn.
He didn't say you should be shut down. He said you should be tried. Barack Obama's former National Security Advisor, Ben Rhodes, says we are sociopathic. Ryan Grimm predicts that Olivia Reingold's name will become notorious for a generation.
You left out that Ben Rhodes' nickname apparently
Hamas,
was
sorry.
Hamas.
I thought it was so dumb that I wouldn't
Hamas Ben.
mention it.
That was apparently what AIPAC, according to Ryan.
Okay,
that was AIPAC's nickname for him.
So since Olivia, I'm going to say something. I don't have the balls to put this on Twitter, but I'll say it here. Olivia, if you're so concerned about narratives about children that are being used for political purposes, do you think you know where I'm going here, Krystal? I have a little story for you called October 7th and claims about beheaded babies who were microwaved. Olivia, I have a task. Please go and investigate all of the claims about beheaded babies and microwaving and slaughtering and raping, if you would like, because I can guarantee you, Olivia, you will perhaps find that many initial claims turned out to be bullshit and were used for propagandistic purposes to push an agenda on the American and the global community to justify a war of annihilation in Gaza. So, Olivia, that's a great story for you. In fact, you may want to look into Ryan Grimm or many of the other people who have debunked systematically many of the claims that have come out. And so, yes, I believe that since she is so concerned with journalism, that she should then investigate the claims that her own news outlet has made about microwaved and beheaded babies on the day of October 7th. Also, there's a documentary put out by potentially one of your patrons, Sheryl Sandberg, about rape on October 7th. I would love to go through that one with a fine-tooth comb, shall we? And let's look at some of the rapes that have happened since October 7th. And a lot of them that happened in Israeli prison camps that were actually found on video, in fact. Barbarism and gangsterism and behavior of such sort, of which we have multiple documented interests, and yet the ones that were pushed by you were used for propagandistic war purposes. So, Olivia, since I know that you're watching, you can go ahead and take that. You can even clip this if you would like. I guess go ahead and cancel me. But,
I have another.
I
have another assignment suggestion for them, since they have such a keen interest in journalism.
Yes.
Well, first of all, they might want to fact check their own friggin' piece, because we'll get to that in just a moment, because there are multiple provable, like, clear falsities even within this one garbage smear piece. But in addition, since you're so concerned about journalists, I'm sure you've done tons of exploration of the way that hundreds of journalists have been targeted for murder by the IDF. We just covered 5 who were killed yesterday. They are 5 among many who have been targeted for murder because they dare expose the truth about what's happening in Gaza. And that is enough for the Israelis to want to make sure that their existence is snuffed out. Not to mention, of course, that they block international journalists from being able to come into the Gaza Strip to document what's going on whatsoever. So that might be something else that you might want to explore, given your keen interest in the journalistic qualities and integrity. But speaking of that fact check, we can go ahead and put, is it F4? Yes, F4 up on the screen. Ryan, I actually didn't even read that whole piece because I can't, but Ryan did. and noted that there were multiple provable falsities in this one piece that was put up to, attest to their incredible journalism. In particular, they write this: why have these reporters ignored credible reports of the UN and its allied organizations themselves blocking the distribution of aid in Gaza? Okay, that is not true. And why are they twisting the truth about Hamas's theft of aid? Also not true, and you don't have to listen to me. You can listen to Israeli military officials who said as much to the New York Times, hardly a pro-Palestine outlet. Similarly, why have they ignored the fact that the UN's associated body that attempts to assess whether there is a famine monkeyed with the metrics for its assessment in Gaza? This is exactly the claim that I spent quite a long time yesterday in my monologue debunking. There's this claim from the Israelis that they changed the threshold for famine measurement in order just to find famine in Gaza. They say they couldn't find a famine, so they forged one. This is just garbage. Like, this is just a lie. They used the same exact criteria in Gaza that they had used in previous findings before. There are two separate thresholds that you can meet. One of them is basically a BMI metric, but oftentimes when there is a famine, it's very difficult to get a full assessment. So there's an alternative indication that they use called mid-upper arm circumference. Now, the mid-upper arm circumference metric, in order to establish a phase 5, which is the most severe level of famine, you need 15% of the population to have met that. With the BMI metric, it's 30% of the population because they measure different things. So you would have different standards. It takes longer for the arm to wither down to the size that would indicate with certainty that there is famine conditions. That is the same guidance and threshold that they have used for other conflicts as well. So maybe they might want to spend a little bit more time journalistically looking into some of their own bullshit claims, even within the context of this one article.
Yeah, wow. It's shocking what actually scrutiny of their journalism will do. By the way, Olivia's claim to fame is the girl who did the TikTok where she read all of Zoran Mamdani's tweets, and she's like, it's called journalism. So that's what we're all dealing with here. So Olivia, again, since I know you're watching, and potentially your salary depends on your boss, Bari, conning David Ellison into buying your bullshit outlet for $250 million, then I get that you're very upset. And I just want to end on that one, which is let's just all say the truth. Here's the truth. The reason why they're the most mad, and I'm almost 100% sure of this, is because of our segment making fun of their $250 million valuation.
They couldn't really respond to that one. So
I am aware
they had to do this one.
that segment made the rounds amongst certain very influential people in Silicon Valley, many of people who were laughing at Bari's audacity for $250 million valuation so that she can be the CBS News pro-Israel ombudsman and con some super rich billionaire into bailing out her shitty business where she's spending vast amounts of money on real estate with a number 31 ranked podcast, a YouTube channel, which might as well be a dud, which is spending $2 a word to commission people, trying to hire people with free health or with health care and all of these top level benefits. She needs a little bailout there. It's the pro-Israel bailout that she needs from Larry Ellison's son. And so perhaps, maybe, that editorial and the sniping had something to do with it. So sorry, Bari, because the thing is as we've said here repeatedly, we want her to sell for $250 because it means you and I are filthy rich on paper, if that's the case. So Bari, we wish you nothing but the best, all right? I've always wanted to be worth $100 million on paper, or at least go around telling people. So that's only possible if you paved the way for us. So please, Bari, please.
We're cheering
go around.
for you.
We're cheering for you, all right? Just so I can tell people I'm a centimillionaire on paper. All right, so with all of that, let's go ahead and no, we're done. We're gonna do the AMA now. Sorry.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Ryan and Emily will be in tomorrow. Saagar and I will be back on Thursday, and we'll see y'all then.
Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show ad-free and in your inbox every morning, you can sign up at breakingpoints.com.
That's right. Get the full show, help support the future of independent media at breakingpoints.com.